Hey guys, Ken97 still 171. We are back at ATS. Already have a load on me. We'll talk about that in a minute, but I drove up rather than waste some time on the video. We were at a repair shop, and I thought, why don't we, since we got about a 55,000 pound load, why don't we try one of the engines that I've got, the new engines in the truck we're driving, especially since we're so far from our normal area. So, kind of inclined to let's turn that off. And let's do the cat or the fort or one of these. Let's turn that off. It's interesting that the 20V149 was an option in this truck. That'd be interesting. But so we'll leave those two as an option. I guess the Cummins N14 is not in this list, so I guess we're going to do the Caterpillar. So I was thinking this 800 horsepower cat. Interesting that there's a C15 cat also. The Newton meter number is higher on that, but it doesn't. This is not one of the. I don't think that this is one of the ones that I downloaded. So this is the ZMod one. Kind of inclined to do that since it's got all kinds of cool. There are some other engines of it. C16 Cummins, ISX. I wonder what the. Curious to see what that one was. It'll be down at the bottom. Yeah, it's this one. 20. Yeah, 710 horsepower. I doubt that would even fit in here in reality, but oh, actually, there's two. You can get the 2900 horsepower one. In order to use that engine, you got to have the advanced transmissions, and we don't, so we won't bother with that. Let's do the Caterpillar 3408 since that's the one that has the Z mod. It should have a better engine sound. Yeah, they like record real engine sounds. So let's take the 800 horsepower one. Let's just go for broke. If that Cummins N14 was available, I might have picked it. Let's do that. $33,000. Okay, didn't want to just change that. Let's take a look at the transmission. So we're currently, so which one are we currently using? Is it in this one? I think it's not. I actually think it is in that Eaton Fuller list. Ran into this the other. Yeah, it's not in this list. It is in the Eaton Fuller list, which is weird because I could have swore it was. I used a stock transmission, but I didn't. So this is the one we're using right now. This 18 speed. With 336 gears. Well, we know it'll go 75 or 80 miles an hour. We don't just keep the transmission rather than changing two things at one time. Maybe if we get another repair shop along the way. With running more power, you could run a taller ratio, but we don't know how this engine even operates, whether it's got good power down low or up high, or I have no idea. So let's just keep the transmission as it is. I do want to, let's see, while we're in here, let's see these things. Well, maybe they do something. I don't know. There's a bull bar option. Which I don't think is really going to help us. That one has more lighting options, but none here on the side, really. This one right here might spread a little more over here. but there aren't any. I'd really like to. Yeah, I was just trying to find a better. That one has a ton of light options too, but they're all. What the hell? Are there multiple? So there's multiple accessory spots on the same rail. I don't know. That one's more realistic. I just don't think it's going to actually help us that much over the lights that we have. I was maybe that one would because it's a little farther to the right versus this one. But they're all kind of pointing inward, not outward. These don't do shit as far as lighting the road up. Maybe they light the up in front of you. I don't know. So all right, let's just leave it like it is. I was hoping maybe there might be some, better choices. There are different bumpers. Oh, but I don't think it makes any differences to anything else. So, okay, guys. I guess that's it. We're not going to change anything else. Oh yeah, and the head tracking is not working. I don't know what's going on. It worked fine for most of the last video that I did, and I don't know what the hell happened. I went in and out of the game. Um, it just kept disconnecting in the middle of driving, and then it would just randomly not work. I don't know what's going on, whether it's the eye tracker software, whether it's OpenTrack, which is the intermediary. I don't think so though. I think the problem was the Beam eye tracker because that's the error that I'm getting. Beam eye tracker detected a change in configuration, and it stops. At one point, the game extensions turned off, and that's what passes the information from the eye tracker to OpenTrack, which then passes the information to ATS. So if you turn off the game extensions, then OpenTrack doesn't have any data throughput, and then it doesn't work. So one time that happened. Another time it just stopped working. Rebooted the computer a few times. It kept doing it. I'm back to doing what we were doing. So I got the mouse hooked back up. I use the mouse to go left and right, and then I have two buttons to go back to center. So I use my left mouse button. When I'm looking to the right, I want to go back straight. I press the left mouse button, and I go back to the center. Same here. And I'm just going to do this. I don't know. I ordered another. I did order. I found a high quality cable to order. Um, we'll try that first and see. Maybe the cable that's on this is defective, and that's why both of the software applications are freaking out. That it's there's a bad connection in the cable that certainly could cause that. I don't know. It's worth a shot. Next thing might be I found the cheap webcam that flight simulator guy recommended as a try. It's $20. So that might be the next choice would be to try that. Because I'm not getting anywhere near the quality of output that other people are seemingly getting. So, and then the next step might be to spend the money, the $150 for Track IR. The shitty thing about that is you got to stick something on your head, and it's got a cable coming off of it that's powered, I'm assuming. So it transmits from your head, and there's a receiver on the somewhere. Unfortunately, the one that integrates, you still need to have that OpenTrack software in between to make that work. The only one that works directly with the game is Tobii IR, and it's $500, and I'm not going to do that. So I don't know. I'm not really sure what's going on. I tried uninstalling and reinstalling OpenTrack eye tracker, didn't work. I tried uninstalling and reinstalling Track, whatever the hell the pink octopus program is, that didn't work. So I think it's a hardware problem. Maybe the webcam is just defective. Maybe that's why the guy was selling it on Facebook Marketplace. That it doesn't work right. I don't know. My risk for buying it that way versus, if I had seen that guy's video earlier, I probably would have sprung on the $20 webcam and given that a try. I just figured buy the best hardware possible to give it the best chance of working. But maybe not. Not if that hardware is broke. All right, guys, so we now have a new engine in here. Let's see what this thing sounds like.
Time to hit the road.
Interesting. It's air start. That's kind of cool. we are heavy. This is anhydrous ammonia. Um, if this ever breaks open, you die. You're never going to run away from it fast enough. You'll die. Even a small container, like the size of a barbecue, they transport those small ones sometimes for farms. That breaks open, you die. And you die horribly. It basically dissolves the inside of your lungs. Well, immediately. Immediately, I'm not loving.
Make a U-turn.
Immediately, I'm not really loving how it sounds. So, it also does not feel like 800 horsepower. Well, that's a bummer. Spend $30,000 on a new engine that you don't like. Well, that sucks big. That sucks big time. I don't like how that sounds at all. Maybe that's how they really sound. I don't know. Why don't we go back to our... These are all part of the JC's amateur pack. Let's go back to the 14 liter that we had in this originally. These must be part of the Argosys. Let's get out of that. Yeah, so that C15 must have been a stock option for the Argosy. So let's put that back in there. That's the one we had. Well, that really sucks that that engine doesn't sound that great. Let's look at the map and just see if there's another repair shop like en route that we could at least just drive this for a while. Maybe we just spent the money. Maybe there is one there. Why don't we drive a little bit? That's 200 miles with this engine. We'll give it a try. Maybe it just doesn't sound good in the parking lot.
Make a U-turn.
Yeah, shut up. Oh yeah, our roof lights aren't on. Why? Because this fucking thing doesn't stay on for some reason. There. Jesus Christ. Doesn't really seem like 800 horsepower to me.
And then turn left.
I wonder if it's a V8.
Turn left.
direct injection engine. Yeah, this seems pretty fucking slow for 800 horsepower. You know, this might be an earlier Z-Mods engine back. Also, there's no engine brake. Well, we could try one of the other Caterpillars, the C-15. It's part of the Argosy itself. Maybe that'll be our next bet. I'm just kind of disappointed that so far the Z-Mod engines have a really good sound. I'm kind of disappointed about that.
Keep right, and then exit right. Exit right.
There's no retarder or anything to go with it. I don't know. I did drive to the first repair shop there, to the first service center with that 12.7 liter we drove all the way to Portland with, and it was slow. Or maybe it's just really heavy. I don't think so, though. I'm curious, guys.
Keep left.
Thinking this is a V8. Well, we can always put that 14 liter back in here. That thing was great. Loud, but great.
Keep left.
Does not. I wish it would not downshift like that. See, but it doesn't need a downshift. This load pays about 80,000. I was thinking about just quick traveling back towards Texas or something. And then I thought, well, maybe we can work our way back east with a few short videos rather than one long one, and make a few changes to the truck along the route. let's see what the truck weighs. I want to say the cargo was 55,000.
Rerouting.
Wow, we're heavy. Okay, well, why are we so heavy? 50,000. That would mean. You guys ever considered it someday it might be us actually driving real trucks out on the open highway as drones using ATS? Something like it. Okay, well, now that we know this thing is over 100,000 pounds, maybe we should try to put the 14 liter in it and just see how much slower it is, or if it is. Maybe it's not. This is making way, it says it's at 800 horsepower. I want to say the 14 liter we had was, was it like 620? Maybe this engine just has a much narrower RPM range. The fact that it doesn't have an engine brake available, though, kind of makes it not really so great. We can look at it. Maybe there's another Caterpillar we can pick. We've listened to an N14. I did like the 14 liter Detroit in this. That 20V or 24V, whatever it was, that super big two-stroke. First of all, that engine would not fit in here in real life. Second of all, I've used that engine before. It actually doesn't sound that amazing, surprisingly. Has tons of power. Didn't really sound realistic, and it's not a realistic engine. It would never fit. It would never fit in the frame rails of this truck. That's something you would see like in a boat, in a marine application, or in a generator. Also, when we get to the next repair center, we need to have the truck looked at, because the weigh station said your truck's not in perfect condition, which I don't really know what that would be about. Unless it's tires, or maybe I bumped something and I didn't notice it, that I damaged it. Yeah, we might put that 620 horsepower Detroit 60 back in here and discover this engine's actually pretty powerful. Pretty sure it's a V8 based on how it sounds. We'll check when we get to the... it doesn't actually tell you that in the game. I'll have to look up the model number, but I'm pretty sure the 3406 is a V8. It's an older engine design. Maybe we're just climbing a lot of mountains and hills before, and we're gonna end up driving right back through those switchbacks, I think. Yeah, but the lack of an engine brake really kind of makes it not that amazing for us to use in the game. Sorry about the head tracking, guys. I don't know. I had a couple of days, yeah, we did several hours of videos where it worked perfectly fine. Maybe the fact that I disturbed the camera and moved it from one location to another. Maybe there's a problem with the USB-C jack in the camera, or maybe the cable. I don't know. I did, unplug it and replug it back in a couple times to while I'm maneuvering it. So maybe that's what's wrong with it. Don't know. Yeah, I think instead of doing head tracking, spending $500 on Tobii eye tracker, um, I'd be more inclined to buy 3 monitors and a better video card if that was the case. Because then, you could have the left window, I don't know. I just think that might be better. I don't know, man. How much money do you want to invest in a simulator when, I can want to look to the left, want to look to the right. I can do that pretty easily with the mouse. Occasionally, you're trying to steer violently, a lot, especially if I do get that Moza wheel where you're going to be turning it like 1800 degrees. You get spinning the wheel a lot more. It is nice to be able to look while you do spin the wheel rather than doing it one-handed.
And then exit right.
Yeah, there's no engine brake.
Exit right. Keep left and then turn left. Turn left. Turn left. Keep left and then turn left.
Oh, the repair shop's right here on the right somewhere.
Turn left.
And go that way. It's gonna be right here.
Finding a new route.
At the Mac dealer, I'm guessing. Yeah, it's in here. I see the it's doing that shit again, where I can't figure out what fucking gear it needs to be in. Kind of weird. Seems to do that at locations where there's a hill, you know. And in reality, what you would do is you would just leave it in first gear and just climb the hill. You wouldn't run it up in first, try to get to third, not make it, back to first. You would just leave it in first and pull up the fucking hill with it. That's what you do. You're never going to shift it fast enough to keep your momentum going up a hill. So we don't want that, unfortunately. Although I am curious. Yeah, 800 horsepower. The torque isn't like really high for the 800. Maybe it's if it doesn't really rev that much either. That's the weird thing. So Cat 3408. Let me just check real quick, guys. Yep, it's a V8. 3408, widely used diesel engine, has a displacement of 18 liters, 8 liter, 8-cylinder V-type engine. Comes in industrial and marine versions. Yeah, this is maximum rating 400 horsepower there. So I'm guessing, maybe that one's chipped or tuned or something. Supposedly, it says 800. It doesn't feel like 800 horsepower to me. So let's uncheck that. Let's uncheck that. We already ran the 12 liter Detroit. Um, so let's just take a look at what's left. Um, these are the non-ZF. I mean, if we're gonna do a Detroit 60, we're gonna do this is the one we had. Well, the 600 horsepower version of that we had. So Caterpillar, 550, 600, 15. Let's see if there's a C16 with ACERT, pre-EASE. Okay, with ACERT, whatever the fuck that means. So 600 horsepower, 3,000 Newton meters. This one actually has less torque with the same power. Okay, well, there's a way more powerful one. Tuned. 720. And then I have these are in here too. These are all part of that amateur pack. Let's uncheck those and see what's left. These should be just the two Z mod, the 14 liter Z mod, as well as whatever came available in the mod that came with this truck. So that's the most powerful non one. That's the 14 liter we had before. Pre-ACERT. It's a C16. This has more power. I'm curious to see what does pre-ACERT mean. Advanced combustion emissions reduction technology. So pre-ACERT means no EGR, DPF, all that fucking shit. It's interesting. The C16 released in 2000 was the successor to the 3406E, which was later replaced by the C16 ACERT engine due to emission standards. The C15 ACERT was the first fully electronic engine in the series. The C16, however, was a semi-electronic engine. Interesting. So the C15 might be the more powerful engine. The C16, oddly, is older, even though it's a higher number. So why don't we go with this one? Let's try it. We can drive around in the parking lot real quick and just see what it sounds like. Maybe it sounds like shit. Maybe the engine brake doesn't work in this one either.
Okay, here we go.
It's interesting. It started in fourth. We can drive just around there a little bit. Well, it definitely has a better sound. And it's got an engine brake. Well, why don't we do the same thing? We'll drive with this one for a little bit. And if we don't like it, we'll stop and put the 14-liter that we originally had back in it. So let's see where the next repair shop is. There's one there. There's one there. Our destination's right there. So why don't we'll just put that as a stop point. It's 200 miles with this engine, and then we'll have.
Time to get the job done.
This one definitely seems more power realistic.
Turn left.
One thing I kind of like about doing this
Right.
manually
And then continue
is
straight on.
I can go like this and move the camera around to try to get the angle I need when I'm looking. You know, I can kind of do like this to try to get the angle. If the car's like right behind the window or right over there, I can kind of move it around. So, yeah, I think we're back to this for a bit until I can get that worked out. And I was borderline not happy with it just because of the jitteriness at the extremes. So, you know. Be interesting to see. We're not going to get very high speeds out of this, but shift.
Keep right, and then turn right. Turn right.
And they're turning right. I swear I hear a beeping noise. I think that was one of those Mac R's that we drove earlier.
Keep left, and then turn left. Turn left.
Okay. There's nobody there. We're going. Kind of like that I can just dip that left to check the mirror. I don't know. Yeah, I'm thinking I like this better, guys. I don't know. Maybe just that I was used to this for a long time. Boy, that's a little bit low there. Did it skip 17? It might have. We're coming into those switchbacks that we had before. And we're heavy. You know, we forgot to check the mechanical condition of the truck. Fuck. Oh, there's a viewpoint. We should have pulled over. Although it's not a video one, it's only a screenshot. Look at the truck in front of us. How that trailer was like jiggling. Might be interesting to listen to the C16 pre-cert engine with less power than this, but interesting to see if it sounds any different. It went to 18. That time it probably should have. Might be interesting to listen to try that C16. I did also turn on radar cruise control. I think before it was just doing like braking. Like when it got too close, it would just on and off throttle. But I actually didn't have radar cruise turned on, although it certainly was behaving like it. Maybe it was just triggering the brake, automatic braking. Yeah, turning that radar cruise on, it's a little smoother maintaining its distance. It's like on and off throttle. It's not just on the gas, on the brake, on the gas, on the brake. Yeah, we'll stop at that next area and switch the engine and do the service on the truck if I can frickin' remember to do that. Sometimes I wonder if I'm going to enjoy using that Moza wheel at a 1800 degree. You can drive this truck with one hand on the G920 steering wheel I have, and you're going to have a lot more steering input required, probably. I don't think we're that far from our. Yeah, well, 3 miles to the next checkpoint. So yeah, we're close. We'll try that other engine, service the truck. Curious to see what the C16 sounds like. It's an older engine, semi-electronic. So kind of curious. But this engine's pretty nice. I mean, not surprising. Cat C15 is, that's an engine name you'll hear in
Keep
truck
right,
if you
and
work
then
in
exit
trucking.
right. Exit right. Get ready to turn right.
Those have good power, like down here to 1,000 revs, even.
Turn right.
Oops. I think this is the wrong place to pull into. It's on the other side over here. That should be the repair place. We don't need fuel. I do like kind of being able to slowly move the mouse over to where I want to look at and go like that slowly with the mouse. All right. So first off, maintenance and repairs. What is going on here? Tires. Interesting. It says to pay $200. Oh, co-insurance. Anything else? $400 to replace the transmission. It's 1%. That's pointless. Okay. So then let us take a look. Turn those off. Turn that off. Turn that off. Turn that off. Turn that off. We just want what was available. So we're in the C15, 720 horsepower. The next one down is the 670 horsepower C16 pre-cert tuned. That says chip tuned. So we'll try that. We'll just drive around to the parking lot. That's a big parking lot. We'll drive it around and see what it sounds like. If it doesn't sound amazing, we'll maybe we'll put the
Never
14
mind.
liter.
I'll find a new route.
Maybe we'll put the 14 liter 60 series back in there. There's that engine brake. Yes. It you guys notice the engine RPM drops a lot slower than the other engine, and that's probably because it's a mechanical engine. See how much slower the rev? How much slower the engine drops? The turbo sounds totally different. Interesting. I might want to just remove that mod completely from the game. It doesn't really do that much for me. Let's take that one out. Cummins. It's a 700 horsepower Cummins. Doesn't tell you what it is though, so it's like, you know. So let's go back to our venerable Detroit 60 series. That's 620 horsepower, 1,900 pound-feet.
Reroute.
Give that a whirl. We might end up just going back to that. See how much faster the RPM drops? In reality, in some ways, having the engine drop RPM slower gives you a little more chance to get into gear.
Recompute.
It's not as loud as I remember it from before. Isn't that interesting? Curious to see if the transmission options are different now. I mentioned this like 5 times already, but for some reason, I remember us using one of these down here at the bottom, this RET, um, one of these. I have a memory of that, and I don't know why, but the transmission that's in it is in the Eaton Fuller group, not in the original Argosy mod, which is weird. I don't remember. What I need to do That's the transmission that's in it. What I need to do is write it down. Um, with retarder. So it's 18 speeds. Fourteen 40 to 0.73 diff 3.36. It's Eaton Ultra Shift. That's part of that Eaton transmission pack. Would be interesting is to go just do that and find something that has similar ratios, 18 speeds. What if I can put in 18? Okay, there's the 18 speeds. Maybe it was these. Maybe it was these two. Yeah, there's. Let's see here. 14. Nothing has. Nothing has as that 1440. The 7.73 is correct, and it was a 336 ratio. So you could go that or that. The only thing that really changes here is the differential. And that one, they all have retarders. I don't know why this one says plus RET. Probably just that's how they're putting retarder instead of just writing it out. I'm guessing. Let me just check and see. 10, 18, it's 12, 18, 12, 19, 12, 19, 12, 19. Yeah, we already tried this Allison, and it's way too much spread in the gear ratio, even with the torque multiplication. It's just really weird how I remember it the opposite way. You know, I remember having a discussion with myself about these three, that they were all 18 speeds with the same ratio and different differentials to think about what was going to go with them, go best with something. But that's not what's in the truck. It's actually in this Eaton. And I thought I tried to stay the hell away from this because, like I've mentioned this before, there's like 10,000 fucking transmissions in here. And the one we're using is this one. Well, at least we have the differential numbers now. I don't know whether it was, automated manual transmission. I'm guessing that's what that stands for. Curious, kind of curious to try. I know we're over an hour now. It's not what I really meant to do, guys. Um, I think there's only a few 18s in here. So what we ought to do, since the low number, this 12 is way off, you would want to go with a taller ratio. It's 336. I'm thinking this would be what you'd want. We don't really need the speed. I wrote down what we already have, so we can always go back to it. Because in that list of Eaton transmissions, my God, you'd never find it again. Probably. I wish there was a way to like save like your favorite transmissions or something. So let's try that.
Never mind. I'll find a new route.
Curious to see if it drives like shit. And I'm curious how that other transmission ended up being chosen in the first place. Because I don't remember. For some reason, L is headlights, but it's also axle lift, which I thought was like O or Q or something. Actually, we don't need to do that.
Finding a new route.
There's more space between those gears. Well, it feels like there's a bigger RPM gap. It's like that. It went way below. Oh, but you know what? It could be skip shifting. Six, 9.
Get ready
10,
to turn left.
13. Okay, so it's shifting. It's skip shifting slightly lower.
Turn left.
Okay, we'll give it a whirl. Hard to tell. We changed transmission and engines.
Keep right, and then turn right. Turn right.
This might be one where I wonder if you would be better off smart sequential shifting, skip shifting, shifting when necessary to okay. Let's try turning that off and see if that works better. It might not, because it may pick. Still started in fourth. I still seem to remember it skip shifting even regardless. Hell, we might not make it. Still skip shifted. Still skip shifted. Keep in mind, we are over 100,000 pounds. I don't think we ever hauled a load this heavy with this engine. Nope, we went too far on the differential. Look at the RPM. We're only at 65, and we're well over peak RPM. So we were definitely better off. We if we're going to keep with this one of these transmissions, we need to go up not quite so short on the gear ratios. We're way too high on the RPM to be in top gear. That may be why it was skip shifting so badly and going between gears, is that it's kind of tall. I don't know. Oh well, we'll deliver our load. Worry about it later, but it's something to keep in mind. Yeah, like we're way outside the we were able to go like 75 before at like 1500 RPM.
Keep left.
And now we can't. I mean, she'll still run 80, but you're way outside the peak RPM and torque range at this point. You know what? I see another repair shop right here.
Okay, let's find a new route. Keep right.
Boy, this one's way more convenient. Okay. So we're at this is the 18 speeds. These right here. It's 4. So we're at 4. We're that one. It was a 336. So that's lower than the other one was with less ratio. This is higher. Well, that's the only one we can try. It's not that much difference on differential though between these two. Interesting. We'll see if this doesn't behave like we think. Maybe we just go back to the one that we had. That one did have a good, at 80 miles an hour, it was at 1500 RPM. It was a good.
Never mind.
It was a good
I'll
balance.
find a new route.
It was a good balance of ratio and interesting. There's another repair center like right over there.
Turn left. Keep right, and then turn right. Turn right.
Well, 15th.
Keep left.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why anything would be that different, the in between on the individual ratios. I mean, I guess they could have different, the top and bottom ratio in the transmission could be the same, but the each of the 18 gears might have different ratios, so the spacing is going to feel different. So we're definitely lower or in the green, but we're still not. I don't think we're still not going to get to 75 miles an hour, and it's because we have that. So there must be wider spacing in the transmission. Well, there is, because it's 14 to 0.7 something versus 12 to 0.7 something. Yeah, we're still too high. We're still not even, we're not going to be outside of the green. We're not even 70 miles an hour yet. So it's better, but not by that much, which makes sense because it was only 390 something to 410. Not a big difference in gear ratio. So we'll go back to the one that we had originally when we get parked somewhere. Well, this is a long video for not going anywhere. We might not even make it to the destination before we got to sleep. Either that or I'm just totally misremembering the ratios, but I don't think so. I think we went across Texas with this 14 liter, and I was talking about how at 75 miles an hour we were turning a perfect 1500 RPM. So let's not die going around the corner. It would be good. Yeah, we're not going to make it, I don't think. I didn't turn the engine brake on. Fucking pass. You hear the little like really weird. I think I remembered mentioning that before. It was a bit strange. We might make it to the delivery before we got to sleep. getting tired. Well, maybe not. Is there a rest area? There's one. Maybe.
Ready to roll.
This is just standard delivery. So there's actually no time limit on this, I don't think. See what happens. Yeah, that's all she's got. 84 miles an hour. That's not bad, but we're definitely outside the RPM window.
Keep right, and then exit right.
Let's
Exit right.
I didn't expect him to pull off. I didn't expect him to hit the brakes. And we've got no damage turned on. But I did not expect him to slow down as much as he did. He went for the exit at the same time I did. And the AI trucks just slam on the fucking brakes before they even get up to the exit ramp. We're gonna sleep. Sucks to sleep when you're 20 minutes from the delivery.
Turn left.
That's a weird. Look how dark it is to the left and right of this truck. It is one thing I really do not like. Is like right there to the left is really dark, even with the high beams on. One thing I never noticed is when the engine, when you take a break, does the engine temperature go cold? Yeah, so this transmission must have just narrower gear spacing between each of the gears. But, yeah, we'll go back to the one that we had next time we get a chance. I don't know how we randomly picked that one. I might do some Googling. Maybe I can find out, what's the best transmission in this truck with this engine, et cetera, and maybe come up with something.
Keep right, and then exit right.
Our fucking destination's right here. We probably could have made that.
Exit right.
Boy, whatever truck they
Turn right.
whatever truck they sampled, man, they had a loud ass engine brake. You know,
Turn right.
you know what? Those things, they sound absolutely fantastic for about 5 minutes, and they annoy everyone else, especially through rural neighborhoods, people trying to sleep. There, it doesn't need to be that fucking loud for it to work properly. Um, it just they do it. People do it because they think it sounds cool, and it does sound cool
Go straight on.
to you and to pretty much nobody else that doesn't know what the fuck it's about. It's just a loud noise that pisses everyone
Get
else
ready
off,
to turn right.
and that's why you end up with signs in small towns that say no engine brake because of shit like that.
Turn right.
We'll see if we got a damage notice on the delivery. I don't think we will.
We are finished.
We got a 90 option. It's going to be a pain in the ass. It's going to be on the other side of those things. Blind, probably blind. It's going to be like right there. I just saw it flashing. Oh, we went way wide of that. I thought there was a truck there. So you want to see how dark it is to the left and right of the truck? That is annoying. I would want some skirt lights, and this truck doesn't have them as options, but I'd want some skirt lights or something down the side of the truck, you know. Don't hit that. Turn off the fucking engine brake. Didn't mean to leave the wheel turned that long. Just skip parking. It's like I'm already in the fucking parking space. If you're gonna ask me to skip it, just do it at the damn gate. You know, or maybe it did. I don't know. See if it gave us a damage notice. Oh, so we had because we didn't hit with the trailer, I guess. I don't know. So all right, guys. That'll be it for this video. You guys have a wonderful day. Ken's 97 still 171 signing off. Be safe out there.